A fifth way of determining the winner is called the pairwise competition method. It can also be referred to as the Condorcet method and Copeland's method. So be aware if you happen to be reading things online or if you're reading our textbook, instead of saying pairwise, it may say Condorcet or Copeland's. They're kind of used interchangeably. I like to use pairwise competition method because it's describing what happens instead of the name of the person. So the candidate who wins the most pairwise battles or contests is going to be the winner of the election, the most pairwise contest. That means putting each candidate into head-to-head battles. So your first step is to pair all candidates up into these head-to-head battles. You have to make sure you get all candidates into all possible battles. The next step is you use the preference schedule to determine who wins each battle. And then the third step, and this is where it comes in, you actually work out who wins, is you tally up the wins, the number of wins for each candidate. So how many battles does each candidate win? The candidate who wins the highest number of battles is the overall winner. All right, so let's take a look at this. Let's start with the battles for peanut butter cups. So we'll look at all battles that peanut butter cups can go up against. So let's start with peanut butter cups against Kit Kats. And then we also have peanut butter cups against Snickers. We also have peanut butter cups going up against the third candidate, which would be M&Ms. Now, those are all of peanut butter cups battles, but we also want to look at all of Kit Kat's battles. So Kit Kats, we already know they battle peanut butter cups. We've already got that written down, so we don't have to replicate that. But we do need Kit Kats against Snickers, and we need Kit Kats against M&Ms. That is 3 battles for Kit Kats, and remember Kit Kats has 3 competitors, so that's all of their battles. Next, we'll look at Snickers. And Snickers is going to go up against peanut butter cups. They're also going to go up against Kit Kats. We already have those 2. And so the only thing left to mark down is Snickers against M&Ms. At this point, you might look at M&M battles. But M&Ms are already shown as battling everyone. M&Ms are battling peanut butter cups. M&Ms are battling Kit Kats. M&Ms are battling Snickers. So as you list them out, and I did this specifically, starting with one column of peanut butter cups and then the next column of Kit Kats and the next column of Snickers, you will have one less battle in each progressive column if you do it by starting with one candidate and going to the second. And you will need one less column than you have candidates, because by the time you get to the next to last candidate, you'll have, and looking at their battle, their last battle, you'll have contained everyone else. So you end up kind of with a triangle shape if you do it like this. All right, so we've got 6 battles when we have 4 candidates. So let's talk about who would win each of these battles. Okay, so let's take a look at each of these battles separately. Let's start with peanut butter cups and Kit Kats. So we're going to look at the preference schedule. And we're going to look at the preference schedule in terms of columns, because the columns are telling us the voters who have the same preferences. So when we look at this first column of 5 people, peanut butter cups, is at the top. That means they prefer peanut butter cups over Kit Kats. So those 5 people, if they had a choice between peanut butter cups and Kit Kats, would definitely vote for peanut butter cups. I'm going to put a little 5 next to peanut butter cups. The next 7 people, though, if you look at who's higher, Kit Kats is higher in their list than peanut butter cups, so those 7 people would vote for Kit Kats. In the next column, Kit Kats is at the top, so those 8 people would choose Kit Kats. So I'm kind of doing totals as I go along underneath the name of the candy. And then the next column, 6 people would choose peanut butter cups at the top, so those 6 votes go to peanut butter cups. They're over top of Kit Kats. And the last column, we have to look all the way down, but Kit Kats is actually preferred over peanut butter cups, so those last 4 votes go to Kit Kats. So when we total this up, peanut butter cups get 11 votes and Kit Kats gets 19. Remember, we should have every kid accounted for, and remember there's 30 kids, so 11 plus 19 is 30 kids, and so that's everybody. And I'm just going to circle the overall winner. Kit Kats won with 19 votes. All right, so now we move on to the next battle. And we do the same thing. So we look at each column. Whoever's higher in that column is the winner of the head-to-head battle. Peanut Butter Cups is on top in the first column of 5 votes. In the second column of 5 votes, Snickers is at the bottom. Peanut Butter Cups is above Snickers. So 7 votes go to Peanut Butter Cups. In the third column of 8 students, Snickers is above Peanut Butter Cups. So Snickers gets those 8 votes. In the next column of 6 kids, Peanut Butter Cups is on top, so that's 6 votes. And in the last column, Snickers is on top, so that's 4 votes. I've gone through the entire table, so I can tally it up. 12 votes to 18, that's 30 kids altogether, so I did account for everyone, and Peanut Butter Cups has more votes. I continue to do this all the way through. So this is kind of time intensive, but we're going to get there eventually. So we're going to do Peanut Butter Cups versus M&Ms now. Peanut Butter Cups is above M&Ms in the first column. Second column, M&Ms is on top, so that's 7 votes to M&Ms. Third column, M&Ms is above Peanut Butter Cups, so those 8 votes go to M&Ms. Next column, Peanut Butter Cups is on top, so 6 votes go to Peanut Butter Cups. And the last column, M&Ms is actually higher in that column than Peanut Butter Cups, so M&Ms wins. So tally up the votes, 11 to 19. That means M&Ms won. And again, 19 plus 11 is all 30 kids, so we did account for everybody. All right, we've got 3 more battles. Let's take a look at them. Kit Kats and Snickers. So in the first column, Kit Kats is higher than Snickers, so 5 points. Second column, Kit Kats is still higher than Snickers, 7 points. Third column, Kit Kats is higher than Snickers, that's 8 points. At this point, you could probably tell that's well over 15 votes, so Kit Kats is going to win, but we could keep doing it just to get it all in. In the next column, Snickers is above, and then the last column, Snickers is above Kit Kats. But it's still, notice, Snickers only gets 10 points, Kit Kats gets 20, Kit Kats wins. All right, the next one, Kit Kats versus M&Ms. If I look at the first column, Kit Kats is above M&Ms, so 5 votes for Kit Kats. Second column, Kit Kats is below M&Ms, so M&Ms wins. Third column, Kit Kats is above M&Ms, so 8 points to Kit Kats. Fourth column of 6 kids, Kit Kats is above M&Ms, so Kit Kats wins those 6 points. And in the last column, Kit Kats is below M&Ms, so M&Ms is actually above and it wins. So that's 11 votes for M&Ms and in this case 19 votes for Kit Kats. Again, 19 plus 11 is all 20. So I've got all the votes accounted for. Kit Kats wins there. So we now have 5 of the 6 battles accounted for. Last one would be Snickers and M&Ms. So first group of 5 kids, they prefer Snickers over M&Ms, so 5 votes to go to Snickers. The second group of 7 kids, they prefer M&Ms, so 7 votes go to M&Ms. The third group of kids, this is 8 kids, prefer M&Ms, so that's 8 more to M&Ms. Fourth group of kids, those 6 kids prefer Snickers, so 6 votes go to Snickers. And then the last 4, Snickers is on top, so those 4 go to Snickers. Now when I add these up, I get 15 and 15. This is something that will occasionally happen with pairwise competitions. If you do have a tie, which is what we have here, with a tie, it means that each of the candidates get a half a point. So now we're going to tally up the wins. We're going to do a little win tally here. How many battles did each candidate win? So if we look at Peanut Butter Cups first, and their battles, they only won 1 battle. Kit Kats, they won 3 battles. They actually won all of their battles. M&Ms won 1 battle and then tied, so they got 1.5 battles or 1.5 battles. And then Snickers just tied. They didn't win any outright, they tied, so technically that would be a tally of 0.5. And then based on the win tally, we get the overall winner. So the overall winner here would be Kit Kats because they had 3 battles they won. That's much more than anyone else. So the winner of this pairwise competition would be Kit Kats. So which candy is the winner? Well, it depends. It depends on how a group decides to determine the winner of an election. And this is why cities and states and countries decide ahead of time how they're going to run elections, is that they want to have something in place, and then based on that rule for the election, they will determine a winner. So in our example, we saw that there could be different winners depending on which rule we use. With plurality, peanut butter cups won. With top two runoff, Kit Kats won. With instant runoff, M&M's won. With board account, Kit Kats won. With pairwise competition, Kit Kats won. So we can see that Kit Kats wins 3 of the ways that it is possible to win, but doesn't win all of them. So what we really do see here is that different voting methods for determining the winner of election may result in different outcomes. And so that's something to be aware of, is that depending on how you choose to judge the winner, you may get a different result.